Hey, welcome back to another episode of Cody Builds. As you guys have seen this morning, Jeff and I have been jamming away on his 1973 Dodge Charger. We are working on all kinds of rust repair today. First and foremost, as you guys saw, I've been putting some patches together for the leaf spring cradle right here. There was a lot more rust that we found once we started digging around. Wanted to go ahead and get that covered up. So you guys saw it. I cut and made these this morning. We got them treated with weld-through primer on both the frame rail here and on the patch as well. That's going to help keep that from rusting further on down the line. In these tight areas, because we did have this all primed up, I was using my little scaler here, my air scaler. This thing is awesome for getting in those tight corners, breaking loose rust. I did hit this with a torch on the primer that was in there to help kind of loosen that primer up, burn it up a little bit, and then hit it with the scaler. Knocked everything off as clean as it could be. That's really going to help me weld these pieces in. Now I got a patch on both sides of that frame rail there. We are going to treat up inside the rail as well. And then I've cut off the edge of our floor here to put a new flange on this side, as well as a little spot here that when I came back and looked at it this morning, I wanted to go ahead and patch this little spot in here and touch it up. I probably could have got away with doing that when I put this patch in, but I thought it was good enough. I came back with a fresh set of eyes. I didn't like it, so cut that out. Now, in the meantime, Jeff's been jamming away on the back here. And he's got this patch put in. Now, mind you, this is the second patch he's ever done, and I think it looks really, really good. He's doing an awesome job. We're having him practice on some of these panels here that are gonna end up being covered up anyways, just so he can learn and not have any fear that, you know, what he's doing is gonna alter the look of his car or anything like that. So get him some confidence on some of these panels. He's doing an awesome job. So we're gonna keep jamming away. I'm gonna go ahead and get these patches welded up on our spring, on our leaf spring pocket back here. Once I get that all kind of welded up, I'm hoping we can maybe test fit the floor into the car today. So fingers crossed, that's the goal. Let's get after it. This came out pretty darn nice, guys. See, we're all welded up on our two patches here. Now, we've got the dueling welders going today. Jeff's working with the Arccaptain MIG200. I'm on the YesWelder MCT520. So the MCT520 is a capable welder. It also has a sin mode like the Arccaptain does. Here's what I'm gonna say. If you're a beginner and you're looking for just a good MIG welder, the Arccaptain MIG200 is the way to go. The sin mode on that unit is so much more intuitive and so much better than the YesWelder. I put it on the sin mode just because I was curious, and I could hardly get a bead laid down. It was popping, spattering, spitting, and sputtering. I've done everything on the Arccaptain MIG200 in sin mode. I haven't even messed around with manually adjusting it yet. I had to manually dial in the YesWelder. Now, we got some really nice welds out of that unit, but if you're a new welder and you're trying to learn, the Arccaptain MIG200 is much more forgiving than the YesWelder is. That's my personal opinion. And yes, both of these welders were given to me. I did not buy either one of them. So I'm giving you my honest opinion here. I didn't pay for the YesWelder, didn't pay for the Arccaptain. But the Arccaptain to me is just a more solid unit. What do I like about the YesWelder? I mean, it's kind of cool having this big display, but literally everything that's on this display is on the YesWelder as well. It's just easier to read here, and it's not really that big of a deal to me. It doesn't matter. It's also a bigger screen to get hit with spatter and everything else while you're welding. So I've also learned as I've been working with these welders that I don't really care for the multi-use functions. Like if you're just starting out and you can only afford one unit and you want the plasma cutter, the MIG welder, the TIG welder all in one, that is a good cost-effective route to go. But to me, switching between the modes is kind of a pain. It's not difficult, it's just kind of a pain. And it keeps me from wanting to switch them once I have them. Like once that YesWelder's in the plasma cutting mode, it stays there. I don't switch it back to MIG or TIG. It stays there until I need a different function. And to me, I would just rather have the separate units. I'd wait and purchase up the nicer version of each individual unit because you're gonna have more functionality in those purpose-built units than you will in the multi-use unit, and it's just easier to deal with it. Now it takes up a lot more footprint and you gotta have the space for them, but these are just my opinions and the things that I like and don't like about the two welders. I'm all in on the Arccaptain, guys. I think that's a really solid unit for the price. Super intuitive. I still can't get over just how intuitive that Syn MIG mode is. Like we talked about earlier, Jeff is back here working on this panel. This is the first time he's done kind of cleaning up, like welded and cleaned up one of these panels. Look how good he's done here. This is really good work for a first timer. So that's what you can accomplish as a brand new welder with the Arccaptain MIG200. Not a knock on Jeff, but I think if I put him on that YesWelder, he would not have had nearly the success that he had with that. So it's just, the thing about it is if you know how to dial these welders in, you can get either one of them dialed in and welding great. But to me, that's half the battle as a new welder, is understanding how to set it up. So if you have that Syn MIG mode that helps you out, that is just a huge step forward just to get going. Then once you're welding and you can feel out what a good bead feels like, all that stuff, then you can start playing around with the adjustments and you can see where the welder's at and start to understand what you need to change and how you need to dial things in to get a good bead laid down. So in my opinion, Arccaptain MIG200 is where it's at. Okay, we're down to just this flange that I just cut. And this thing's a little bit challenging because the floor is a little whipped here. It's not quite flat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna start at the end closest to me down here and just work my way down. You can see it's a pretty good gap down there. But we're just gonna try and work this into a reasonable shape as we go along here. I'm gonna have to, I see I'm already gonna have to profile the end down just a little bit to get the fit a little bit nicer, but we're just gonna start at one end, work our way down to the other, see what we end up with here. And that's pretty much gonna do it for the patches on this floor. I did, off camera, I did come up here and patch a bigger hole we had up here. We had a little tear in the sheet metal, but that's pretty much gonna do it. So once this flange is on, we are gonna try and fit this thing up into the car, see how the frame rail fits into our jig here, and see if everything lines back up in the car. We're not necessarily gonna start welding it in just yet, but we are gonna see just how close we are to having this nice new floor compared to the old crusty one welded back into the car. All right, nice new clean seam put on there. Basically, guys, we've got all the rust taken care of. Whatever's up here is just surface rust. There's some things that are still gonna need to be done to this floor, but for the most part, the repairs are all done. And this thing is so much more solid than it was before. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Our patches for the leaf spring mounts all turned out really good. We've got some more cleanup work to do, but for now, I wanna put this thing in the car and test fit it and see what it's gonna look like in the car. Let's see how this floor is gonna look.
So what do you think?
We might have to go in through the trunk.
From the back?
I think we might have to go from the back.
Okay.
Come down and pop up.
Okay.
I think. Okay.
So this corners. There we go. Okay. So now I'm past where I need.
Okay, that's good. We're gonna have to continue past because I've got to get.
You've got to get underneath.
Under that
Okay.
brace.
Fortunately, I'm stuck by the brace there.
Okay.
That's as far as I can
Gotcha.
go. Unless I lift up. And we're going to have to go back, and I'm going to have to go over it.
We're going to have to go...
Yeah, it's just right now it's not going in.
Okay.
Here's the thing. If we pivot it...
Pivot.
Okay, so pivot. Okay, if you picture this. If we go like this,
yep.
I can go that way.
Okay, that's what we need to do then.
Okay. So, a little... Okay, there we go. I can go as far as you need to.
Ah, I see. So can you lift up at all? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay, we got to write this down. Okay, so close. What needs to happen?
Yeah, we got to get the frame kind of into the saddle before we do any of that. There it is. Right into the saddle.
Okay.
Now the question is, can we get it to where it'll drop? I about got it. I just moved it a bunch.
Oh, okay.
There. Stop.
We can leave this in, right?
The floor, yeah, I think we're leaving it in at this point. We just struggled with this thing, getting it in. But here's the really cool thing, guys. We got this thing in, and you'll notice that there's a pretty decent gap along the floor here. Now, remember, all these parts came off the same car. They were all cut from one another. So what we figured out is that right now our rocker spacing, everything at the bottom here is set off of this brace being welded into here. The whole rocker and the floor pan and the wheel well needs to just roll in just a little bit. And we noticed that on the back side, we're looking at the wheel well. If you look right down this wheel well, you'll see that that's like perfectly vertical with the floor. And then you look down this one and you'll see that you might be able to pick it up, but it's kicked out a little bit. So Jeff's going to push in, and you can see just how much he can push in. It basically touches at the top. We're going to be able to line everything up. It's a little low there, but you'll notice it is also a little low here. So we got to bring the outside corner up. We got to bring the wheel well in, and then everything's going to line right up the way we planned it. So this is huge. I mean, look at the difference here. We got a bunch of stuff in the floor pan here, but look how rusty, crusty. You can see light through the floor all over there. And then we've got our nice brand new patched in floor, patched in frame rail, all that looks really good. So this is a huge step for us, guys. Look, nice and tight here. We know this was all cut out anyway, so we knew we were gonna have to reconstruct back in this corner. We cut that out, knowing that that was all rusted out anyway. So there's little things that we have to do to make this right, but it basically lined up just the way we wanted it to. Now, the way we've got the floor, it's basically overlapped at the top. We can come in here with angle grinder and just cut right through the floor, right through each side of the floor, and weld that in if we wanted to. The challenge is going to be that this section needs to be patched here, so we'll have to figure out how we want to do that. We may, for the time being, just cut this out up to here where the floor is good, and then we'll lap these and we'll get these sitting flush. We'll have this side pulled back, and then we'll patch in this section of the floor again. So, but man, super happy with this. Look at the height here. They're right where each other needs to be. They're right on with each other. I mean, we start prying on this thing, pulling on it, getting it tacked up into place, it's going to fall right into place. Look at the body lines and everything up at the top of the wheel well. It's all lining up perfect. We are in our jig on the frame, so like couldn't ask for this to go any better. It was a little difficult getting it in here, but now that it's in here, we've got 1/4 of the floor done here. This is good stuff, really good stuff. Now you can see once we get this side and the other side done, Jeff's got the floor pan from here all the way up to that seam right along the firewall there, brand new. So we don't have to replace that. It's going to be a brand new a brand new floor pan there. We're not doing anything other than putting the new one in, which is just drilling spot welds, pulling this out, putting the new one in, and re-welding the spot welds. Simple stuff. I say simple. It's going to be some work, but then the only thing that we need to patch is going to be in the center of the car here. So once we get those two halves done, this front done, we just got a little bit of floor to cover from scratch. So rather than having to do all this from scratch, that's why we use a donor car. You cannot get these parts anywhere else. All that said, guys, a really good day in the shop. Really exciting stuff. Every time we get a new piece in this car, it just feels a little bit, you just get a little more energy, a little oomph from what we're doing here. And it's really exciting stuff that we're making this much progress. So I'll give you one more look down at the bottom here. You can see just how much cleaner that frame rail and everything is at the bottom. Now, originally we were thinking, oh, we'll pull this back out and we'll grind the welds and do all that. I don't think this floor is coming out. Now that we got it in there, it was such a pain to get it in there. We're gonna leave it in. We'll have to do a little bit of grinding, cleaning up from the bottom side. Not a big deal at all. We'll just deal with it, and then we'll get this thing painted up from the bottom side. All that said, guys, we're out here, we're working on the projects. I said last week, Jeff and I are just a couple regular guys. And what I meant by that was, if we can do this, you can do this. So get out in the garage, work on your projects, because if you don't work on your projects, they will not work on themselves. Get out in the garage, get building, and I'll see you on the next episode of Cody Builds. I just totally forgot my closer.
We'll see you next episode.
So, if you don't work on your projects, they will not work on themselves. What do I normally say?
Get out in the garage, get building, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Oh, yeah, okay. God, this is gonna be in the blooper reel.